Have you ever visited a country so small that you thought it couldn't possibly compete with the world's biggest powers, only to discover that it's more advanced, more organized and more influential than nations hundreds of times its size? Welcome back to Infosphere, the channel where we explore the most fascinating places shaping our world today. In this video, we follow the journey of a traveler who visited Singapore in the year 2025 and left stunned, amazed, and almost unable to believe how a tiny island nation, smaller than many cities, has become one of the most powerful countries on the planet. Singapore may be small, just a dot on the map, but the moment he arrived, he realized something unbelievable. This tiny nation operates with the mindset, precision, and influence of a global superpower. He saw it in the streets, in the technology, in the culture, and even in the way people lived their daily lives. So today we break down exactly what he discovered and why Singapore's power in 2025 shocked him to his core. Let's begin. The unbelievable efficiency everywhere. The first thing he noticed the moment he stepped into Singapore was the type of efficiency that almost felt unreal. Planes landed on time. Immigration lines moved faster than any airport he had ever been to. Public transportation arrived with a precision of less than 1 minute. The city operated like a perfectly tuned machine, and he couldn't believe how a nation with fewer than 6 million people ran smoother than countries with more than 300 million. The streets were spotless, with no trash in sight, not because of hundreds of cleaners working non-stop, but because of a culture built over decades where cleanliness is part of national identity. He realized that Singapore's efficiency wasn't an accident. It was engineered through smart policies, strict rules, and a shared belief that the nation's success depended on everyone doing their part. This alone made Singapore feel like a powerful nation far beyond its size. A technological future running today. As he explored deeper, he felt like he had stepped into the future. Autonomous buses were being tested on public routes. Smart traffic systems controlled vehicles with artificial intelligence. Cashless payments were accepted literally everywhere, from luxury malls to tiny food stalls. Even the public housing districts, where more than 80% of citizens lived, looked more modern than most cities' expensive neighborhoods. He saw robots delivering parcels, drones monitoring safety, and digital government services so advanced that tasks requiring hours in other countries were done in minutes in Singapore. It was as if Singapore didn't wait for the future. It built it, and when a small country becomes the testing ground for new technologies, it becomes something powerful, a place the world looks to for the next innovation. A military small in size, but big in strategy. He always thought that a powerful military required millions of soldiers and massive land borders. Singapore proved him wrong in just a single visit. Despite being tiny, Singapore invested heavily in strategy, intelligence, technology, and defense innovation. The country had one of the most advanced air forces in Asia, with fighter jets, defense systems, and cutting-edge training facilities that rivaled nations more than 50 times its size. He learned how Singapore uses technology to compensate for land limitations. Underground command centers, cybersecurity hubs, and world-class training simulations made its military more efficient than massive armies that depended purely on manpower. Power, he realized, isn't always about size. It's about preparation, strategy, and intelligence. A global financial powerhouse. When he visited Marina Bay, he immediately understood why Singapore is considered one of the world's most influential financial capitals. The skyline alone told the story. International banks, global investment firms, tech giants, and billion-dollar corporations, all choosing Singapore as their Asian headquarters. He discovered that more than 80% of the world's major companies had a presence here. Billionaires from around the world stored wealth in Singapore because of its stability, transparency, and strict anti-corruption environment. It wasn't just a financial hub, It was a global magnet for money, talent, and business. The traveler realized that a country doesn't need size to be powerful. It only needs the right environment, and Singapore had perfected it. Cultural harmony that feels impossible. In many countries, different ethnic groups often struggle to live together peacefully. But in Singapore, he witnessed Chinese, Malays, Indians, and dozens of other communities living side by side with respect and unity. It felt almost unreal. He visited temples, mosques, and churches standing on the same street. He watched people celebrate each other's traditions, and he realized something extraordinary. Singapore's diversity wasn't just tolerated, it was celebrated. This harmony created stability. Stability created trust, and trust created power. The world may be divided, but Singapore had built a model of unity that many nations still struggle to achieve. A government that actually works. The traveler came from a country where government decisions often took months or years. But in Singapore, he saw a system that worked like clockwork. Policies were designed logically, corruption was nearly non-existent, and leaders focused on long-term national success instead of short-term popularity. The city didn't look modern by accident. Public housing was designed, economic policies were aligned, infrastructure projects were executed with discipline. Every part of Singapore felt like it was built with intention, and that intention was progress. A powerful country isn't one with big borders, it's one that can control its destiny, and Singapore proved that with every decision. Safety levels that shock first-time visitors. He walked through the city at 2 in the morning and felt completely safe. No fear, no anxiety, no danger. Singapore's crime rate was one of the lowest in the world, supported by strong laws, strict enforcement, and a society built on mutual respect. When a traveler feels safe, he respects the country. When a country can guarantee safety day and night, it shows real power. Power through order, not intimidation. Education that produces world-class talent. He visited universities and schools and saw why Singapore consistently ranked among the top education systems globally. Students were disciplined, creative, and competitive. Teachers were respected. Classrooms were equipped with the latest technology. Singapore didn't rely on natural resources, it relied on the mind, and a nation that invests in intelligence becomes powerful automatically. A vision that never stops growing. What shocked him most was that Singapore was never satisfied, even with world-class systems, futuristic buildings, and unmatched efficiency. The country was always planning 10, 20, and even 50 years ahead. New islands being built, green cities being designed, technological revolutions being prepared. Singapore's power came from one thing: vision. A tiny nation with a giant global influence. At the end of his journey, he realized the truth. Singapore's power didn't come from land, population, or military size. It came from discipline, innovation, unity, intelligence, and vision. That's why world leaders respected it. That's why global companies invested in it. And that's why travelers like him left speechless. So the next time someone tells you that a country must be big to be powerful, remind them of Singapore. A tiny island that proves greatness has nothing to do with size and everything to do with purpose. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to Infosphere for more global stories that open your mind, inspire your travels, and reveal the hidden power of nations around the world. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.